Yo, man. Welcome to FKU Africa Podcast. This is your host, Maneza F8, coming to you live in Worcester, in the Western Cape here in South Africa, man. We're doing it good, doing it right. Uh, Today, I've got a wonderful guest. He goes by the name of James Harper from Trinidad and Tobago. So I'm just gonna now talk to the brother and make sure that we chop it up and just make sure that we know all he is all about. Yo, man, how you doing?
Hi, Booty. How are things, man? How things going with you?
Ah, Doing good, man. Not a complaint. I can't really complain, man. How is it
That's it.
there in Trinidad, man?
Well, I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. Let's not forget it. I'm actually residing in Trinidad right now. Right now, it's really rainy. Just now it had a lot of rain, a lot of
Oh,
downpour. So it's very wet in Trinidad and Tobago right
wow.
now. Yeah, it's very wet
All
right
right, all
now, and
right,
very
all right.
dark too. I'd have some extra light here too.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, man. So yeah, just tell me a lot about it. Let's just talk about you, man, and all you about, man. Just a brief for what you do and just about you.
Okay, so first of all, my name is James Harper. I'm a health and wellness coach. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, and my specialty is type 2 diabetes reversal. So, what I do, I help people who have pre-diabetes and type 2 diabetes lower their A1C levels. Now, your A1C level is a way of determining if you have pre-diabetes or type 2 diabetes. That's the gold standard. So, I help people bring down their A1C level to a healthier normal range. Or AKA,
Uh,
I help with resolving people with pre-diabetes and type 2 diabetes. So I help resolve it for them.
wow, that's wonderful, man. So when it comes to type 2 diabetes, what really causes it? What are the main factors when it comes to that?
Okay, so now, contrary to the belief and what a lot of people will tell you, they will say things like family history and
Hmm.
genetics and all these other factors.
Hmm.
No, I'm not saying that these are not contributing factors, right?
Yes.
But the main cause of type 2 diabetes is your lifestyle.
Hmm.
Is diet
Okay.
and lifestyle. That's the main
Uh,
cause. Okay? Because
okay.
because first they said it was age. If you're above 40 years and over, then you're at a high risk of type 2 diabetes. We are seeing that there are children now that have
Yes.
as young as
Yes.
10 years old who have not type 1 but type 2
Type 2.
diabetes, right? Then
Oh.
then they said things like if you're of African descent, Hispanic descent, but you
Mm-hmm.
can see all around worldwide, whether you're Caucasian, African, Asian, whatever, it's very predominant where there's a certain type of lifestyle or diet. So
Yes.
it shows nothing, it shows no sort of preference towards race, right? Despite what people might tell you. Now, they
Yes.
might say things like economic factors. Now, people might fail to realize that when it comes to economic factors, they think that malnutrition means undernutrition, but
Okay.
malnutrition
Okay.
also means overnutrition. So
Ah.
right, you imagine, so it's overnutrition too. So people
Mm.
who are overweight, obese, that's a form of malnutrition also. So malnutrition doesn't mean that
Mm.
you're undernourished; it means that you're
Yes.
overnourished, right? So the thing
Ah.
about it is
Yeah.
that type 2 diabetes is rampant in Europe,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
right? Europe, Asia,
America.
America, North America, and the Caribbean.
Yes.
So it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter about the socioeconomic factors either. Now, what we have realized is that there's a trend that countries of lower or middle or lower socioeconomic status usually are rampant, but it doesn't subject to that people who are first world countries. Actually, there are a lot of first world countries that type 2
Mm-hmm.
diabetes is actually a problem. So
Yes.
there's
Yes.
one thing that spreads along the line, and that's diet.
Mm.
So
Ah,
I
okay.
so despite what and I'm not going to argue with anybody by saying, but facts and figures show, right? Despite
Yes.
what people might tell you, diet is the contributing driving factor of type 2 diabetes, a poor diet and lifestyle.
All right. So with me, you're not going to get any pushback, you're not going to get any debate because I'm not in this field of health. I don't know
Right.
much about it, but I like to raise the awareness. So like people like who like me who doesn't understand the difference between type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes. What are the differences?
Okay, that's a very good question, Booty. So just to let you know, now there are four categories of type two of diabetes, not type two. Sorry about
Diabetes.
that. There are
Oh,
four categories of diabetes, right?
okay.
There's type one, gestational, pre-diabetes, and type two diabetes, right? Four. Sorry about that. I'm not seeing the camera. Four, right? So
Yes,
I'll
yes.
start off with type one. Now, type one diabetes is what you call an autoimmune disorder. Now, an
Mhm.
autoimmune disorder is when your healthy cells or your immune system, sorry about that, your immune system attacks healthy cells of the body. Okay, so it's an autoimmune disorder. Now, in type two diabetes, you have in diabetes is a disorder whereby you experience something called high blood sugar or hyperglycemia, right? When you have elevated or
Yeah.
high blood sugar levels. Now,
Mhm.
insulin is the hormone that's responsible for lowering or controlling your blood sugar levels. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes.
And now there's a organ in your body called the pancreas. Now the
Pancreas.
pancreas
Pancreas
is
gland.
right, the pancreas, right? Well done, right?
Mm.
And the pancreas
Yes.
is responsible for releasing this insulin to help you lower your blood sugar levels. In
Yes.
type 1 diabetes, your immune system attacks the cells of the pancreas,
Mm.
causing them to be damaged. So people with type 1 diabetes usually produce little to no insulin. So if you have little bit of insulin, it just means that you're unable to control your blood sugar levels effectively, right?
Oh,
So type 1 diabetes, and it usually happens to children and adolescents. Okay? It
okay.
hardly happens to adults. It used to be called juvenile diabetes. You know, like how Prince used to
Mm.
be called
Yes,
the
yes.
formula, right? The party, right? So it
Yeah.
was it was it was it was disorder formerly known as juvenile diabetes, but they
Juvenile
call it
diabetes.
type 1 diabetes now. So it's a disorder that affects children and adolescents, whereby your immune system damages your pancreas and you're unable to produce insulin. Yeah,
Oh,
right.
okay. So this is the reason why people with diabetes they have to have the insulin, like the injection,
Well done. Well done.
because
Well done.
yes, because they have lack of insulin, they have lack of sugar levels in their body.
Well done. So people who have type 1 diabetes, they have to inject insulin on a daily basis because they are able to produce insulin. Now,
Mm.
a lot of people, they have a misconception. Type 2 diabetes, the first line of defense, before I get into the other thing, the first line of defense, when you're diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, they put you on metformin, they put you on tablets.
Mm.
Now, usually, when type 2 diabetes is uncontrollable and all your medication options has failed you, they put you on
Mhm.
insulin. Or
Okay.
when you have a high blood sugar emergency, they'll put you on insulin. Now, a lot of people, they will say things like, well, I've turned from type 2 to type 1. That
Mm.
is not the case. That is not the case, right? If you're
Okay.
a type 2 diabetic who has been put on insulin, that means that you're a type 2 diabetic who's insulin dependent.
Oh,
Right. So so
I see. I
so
see. I
just so
see.
just to clear that up, right?
Mm.
Now, the second type of diabetes is what you call gestational diabetes. Now, this is the type of diabetes that only happens in pregnant women,
Oh,
right? During
gestational.
gestational, right? During the second and
Mm.
third trimester. So if you hear a man come and tell you, boy, I got gestational diabetes, then something is wrong, right? Or or he has his facts wrong, right? But but
Perhaps, yeah.
right? But that's the thing.
Mm.
Now, it's a phenomenon that only happens with women who are in their second and third trimester. Now, get this: people who have gestational diabetes, they had no signs and symptoms of type 2 diabetes before that. But
Really?
during pregnancy, they got it. And
Mm.
usually, now, let's say 7 out of 10 times, 70% of the time, they actually, all signs and symptoms of diabetes go away,
Oh,
right? All symptoms
Wow,
and signs. Right. Now,
that's
the,
strange.
oth- the other 30%, they actually have higher risk of contracting or becoming type 2 diabetic.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
So that's why it's a phenomenon, right? That only happens in
Hmm.
pregnant women.
Hmm.
Now, let's get to the big kahuna here, pre-diabetes and type 2 diabetes. When you hear
Yes.
a lot of people say things like, well, I've suddenly become type 2 diabetic, what the thing about
Yes.
is that they're absolutely incorrect. Before you become type 2 diabetic,
Type 2 diabetic. Yes.
you have to first become pre-diabetic.
Oh.
Now, exactly. Now, the thing about pre-diabetes is usually asymptomatic. You don't see any signs or symptoms of it. It's something that's time. It's a time-dependent phenomenon. So, let's say somebody who has been, well, not even diagnosed, but becomes pre-diabetic. If you
Mm-hmm.
continue a certain lifestyle, from like say that you can become pre-diabetic to type 2 diabetic in 5 to 15 years. So it's
Oh,
a exactly. So
wow.
it's something that develops. That's why a lot of people say, well, when they say things like, well, I suddenly got it. No,
Uh, you
sorry.
you can't just suddenly get it. You just develop over time. This is what we are saying.
Exactly. You
Mm.
develop all these. No, the thing about it is that when it reaches a stage that you're seeing outward signs, that's when it's a
Mm.
bit too late. Okay.
Ah.
So pre-diabetes usually it usually precedes type 2
Mm.
diabetes. So a simple definition of pre-diabetes is that it's when your blood sugar levels are elevated, a little more elevated than normal, but not as high enough to be diagnosed as type 2 diabetes. Okay?
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
Now,
So, yeah, before we go a little bit forward, I just want to be clear on this. So, when someone is what kind of symptoms for someone to see that now is just maybe in the first phases of having going to the type 2 diabetes.
okay, usually some of the three most glaring symptoms, we call it the Holy Trinity, is
Hmm.
frequent hunger, frequent thirst, and frequent
Ah,
urination. Right?
oh,
Oh, sorry. I can't take my camera angles here, right?
yes. No,
Frequent
I can see
hunger,
you.
yeah, frequent thirst, and
Hmm.
frequent urination. And
Ah,
another thing, other signs and symptoms would be things like, for women, they get a lot of things like yeast infections. Um, they will see things like this might sound a bit gross, but they might see like
mhm.
when men urinate in the toilet bowl, they might see like and they don't flush or the water doesn't go down properly, they might see like ants going around by the toilet area. That means a lot of sugar is in your urine. Yes.
Wow.
For men, um,
Hmm.
they are they become how should I say impotent. So they
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes. So they,
That's what we call ED,
right,
uh, erectile
erectile
dysfunction.
dysfunction, right? That
Yes. Yeah.
that will happen to men, and
Mm.
yeah, blurry vision is another sign and symptom too. But the three main thing is frequent hunger, frequent thirst, and frequent urination. That's the holy
Mm.
trinity of signs and
Yes.
symptoms that type 2 diabetes is on the horizon. Um, so that's it. Now, getting to the big kahuna now, type 2
Mm.
diabetes. Now,
Yes.
type 2 diabetes is a disorder. I won't even say it's a disease.
It's a
It's a
disorder.
disorder, right?
Mm. Immune
That
disorder.
yeah, no, type 2 diabetes is different than
Oh.
type 1 because type 2
Oh.
diabetes is a lifestyle disorder.
Oh.
Okay?
Okay.
It's a lifestyle
Okay.
disorder that
Lifestyle
happens.
disorder. Mm.
Your body is actually producing insulin,
Mm-hmm.
but it's unable to utilize its insulin properly. So
Mm.
I don't know if you ever saw the Febreze ads when they said, um, when you put it in a room and you see somebody in a nasty room and like the mother come in and she'll be like, how come you're not smelling that? And be like, you become nose blind, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. In this instance, you have become not nose numb, sorry about that, insulin numb. So your
Mm.
body's producing insulin,
Mm.
but
But it's not.
it's not using this insulin properly, right?
Oh, yes. Yes.
And type 2 diabetes, there's a fact that a lot of people don't factor in. Type 2
Mm.
diabetes is when your body's producing too much insulin.
Mm.
right?
Okay.
It's
Okay.
producing too much
So,
insulin.
so in type 2 diabetes, unlike type 1, you don't need the constant insulin injections.
Injections, right? Well done.
Mm,
I'll explain that to you. That's a great question. Now, the thing about
mm,
those injections, the insulin is something that will help with the short term. So, if you have like an emergency, like
mhm.
say if your blood sugar levels go uncontrollably high, or you are actually at risk of a diabetic coma,
Mhm.
then they will inject insulin in you. But for the
Okay.
long term, it's poisonous. It's like giving a cocaine addict cocaine and saying, "Well, okay, you need to get over this addiction. Let's pump you a
Mm,
lot of cocaine." It's no,
mm.
it's not, because your body is actually not used.
Producing a lot.
Right, it's
Mm,
overproducing this insulin, and
mm.
no matter, too much of one thing is not good for anything, right? As too
Yes,
little as too
it's
much.
true.
So
True.
that's the same, right? So that's the same thing that applies to this thing right here. They call type 2 diabetes. Too much
Mm,
insulin is actually causing more harm to the body, right?
mm,
And that's why. And that's what you call, so the root cause of type 2 diabetes is insulin resistance,
mm.
right?
So, what do we do then about this diabetes? Is there any cure for it? Is there, when you get like into type 2 1, is there any cure that like it can be gone in your body, or if you have it, you have it? It's for life.
Right. Okay. So that's a great question. And I will try to explain this as best as I can. There's
Mm,
no, well, just to let you know, there's no cure for type 2 diabetes,
mm.
but it's something that can be reversed.
Oh,
And
that's
and
great then.
I'll right, and I'll explain what reversal means, right?
Mm,
So when you test for type 2 diabetes, the best test is something called an A1C test. And an
mhm,
A1C test is a 3 month average. It tests your blood sugar of a 3 month average, right? So an A1C
mhm.
test cannot lie. Now, an A1C test is measured in percentages. So once you draw blood and you measure, so if you have a percentage of 5.7 to 6.4, you're considered to have prediabetes. And once
Okay.
you're 6.5% and above, you're considered to be type 2 diabetic.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. I
So
see the
below,
difference.
right? So below 5.7 is actually healthy for you. So if you do something called a HbA1c or an A1C test, and you're
Mhm.
below 5.7, that means you're good. You're not in the
Yes.
pre-diabetic or the type 2 diabetic range, right?
So you're good.
Now, right now, pre-diabetes, type 2 diabetes reversal is when you have the ability to lower and maintain your A1C levels
Mhm.
without the use of medication or any sort of pharmacological or any sort of medical intervention. So you can
Oh.
keep a healthy A1C. Now, the thing about it is that it are people who have now, people who have been with A1Cs of above 13, right, which is very high, right?
Mhm,
Like, because it's
mhm.
supposed to be below 5%. Even it's are people who have A1Cs of above 6 and who lowered it to below 5 point, like
Yes.
5.2, 5.3. So they are living a normal, healthy life now
Mhm.
without the use of medication.
So it's
But,
reversed.
but it's reversible. But
Mm.
if you, now you have to understand, a certain lifestyle got you to that point, right? So meaning
Yes.
that an unhealthy lifestyle got you to having a high A1C. So if
Yes.
you so if you practice if you practice like healthier eating habits or whatever, and you lower it, that means you have to continue practicing that healthy habits. Because if you revert to old eating habits or to unhealthy eating habits, then you can't get back type 2 diabetes. That's why there's no cure for it, but it can be reversed.
Mm. Okay.
Understood?
Being reversed means that you still live with it, but it's controllable.
Well, you okay.
Or
So,
or is it gone when it's reversed?
well, what I'm saying is this: it's not a matter that you're, because it's a disorder that's caused by diet, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it means that, yes, it means
Lifestyle.
that lifestyle, right? Well done. So it
Mm-hmm.
means that you don't have to live with it, right? It's not, you're not living with it. It means that you're controlling. Yes, it means that you're actually getting rid of
De-
it,
Dealing
right?
with it.
You're dealing with it. Because I'll explain to you. Type 2 diabetes is a progressive disorder, meaning that if you don't deal with it, it gets worse.
Oh,
It,
okay.
it, it progresses. But once you deal with it aggressively and you deal with it properly, you don't have to live with it. But you just have to live a healthy lifestyle. So what I'm
Mm,
saying is that if once you eat healthy and you get on your A1C at a healthy level, you don't have to worry about type 2 diabetes, right? It won't just pop
mm,
up again or anything like that. But if you revert back to
mm.
old methods or to old ways,
Habits.
habits, you're gonna get
Mm,
it back, right?
okay,
So
understood.
it's like when you go somewhere and you rub up with somebody with a rash, right?
Mm,
And you get the rash, and then after you say, okay, I'm cured of the rash,
you
or
chart and then you
I
go
remember,
back to that person.
and then you go back and hug back the person. Of
Mm,
course, of course, of course, you're gonna get your rash if you understand what I mean. If you keep on right, so that's the thing. So that's why there's no cure for type 2 diabetes, but it's totally
mm,
reversible. It's
reversible.
manageable and it's treatable. So that's the
Mm,
word I'm trying to say. It's totally treatable. So you don't have to go on insulin. You don't have to die of a heart attack. You don't have to do any of
mm.
those things. You can live a normal, healthy life, diabetes free.
Diabetes free. Okay, yeah. Now, let's say now we understand what it is, and we understand the severity of it. Now we want to prevent it. Now let's talk about prevention.
Okay.
What kind of a lifestyle you should avoid, and what kind of a lifestyle you should live to make sure that diabetes and yourself are living far away
Far away.
from each
Okay.
other.
So I have something called the dietary mistakes that cause type 2 diabetes, right? So first thing first is watching and controlling. First thing first, not even watching and controlling. Limiting and avoiding processed foods as much as possible.
Processed
So
food.
processed foods, right? Processed foods.
Meaning
As
the burgers, KFCs.
right, the burgers, the
Yes.
KFC, and stuff like that. No, limiting and avoiding. No, what I'm saying is this, right? Now, I'm a person when it's time to celebrate or it's time to hang out with friends or whatever, I'll
Mm.
partake. If you understand what I
Yes.
mean, right?
Yes. Yes. Once in a
I'll
while.
partake once in a while. But a lot of people, processed and unhealthy foods make a major part of their diets. What you
Mm.
need to do, you have to do the opposite. So you need to eat healthy 80% of the time,
Yes.
right? 80% of the time. So that 20%, it should not cause any sort of trouble or it won't affect your health in any way. So that's the first thing. Limit and avoid processed foods as much as possible.
Mhm.
Controlling your carbs. Now, a lot of people, they have a misconception that they think it's just about candy.
Mm.
It's not about candy, it's about carbs. Now, in Trinidad
Oh.
and Tobago, we have a very diverse menu. We have a very
Mm.
diverse cuisine, right? But we eat a
Mm.
lot of carbs, and type 2 diabetes is very rampant.
Oh.
So, so we so controlling the amount of carbs, whether it's sweet or starchy, is something that's very important. So another
Mm.
thing, what you should do is that so a great example. Some people might eat rice and potato. That's
Yes.
too much carbs, right? That's too much carbs.
Yes.
Now,
Yes. That's double cups.
right,
Yeah.
that's double carbs, right? So
Mm.
now, if you drive or people who have vehicles out there, if you
Mm.
put gasoline and diesel into your engine, what is going to happen to your engine?
It's gonna best.
Right, it's going to pass. It's
Mm.
either you have a diesel engine or you have a
Mm.
petrol engine, right?
Yeah.
Making sense? So
Mhm.
when we're picking our carbs, pick one, right?
Mm.
Another thing too, a lot of people, what they do, they eat a lot of flour and gluten items on a daily basis. Sometimes they might eat it like twice for the day and 3 times for the day. So they might eat like a bagel in the morning, bread in the evening, and some crackers in the night. And people
Mm.
have a misconception. They will say things like, "Well, I'm actually eating light in the nighttime. I'm eating some crackers. Actually, that might be
Yeah.
the worst thing that you're eating, right?
Mm.
So eating too much of the bread and flour products is something that actually causes type 2 diabetes. Another
Mm.
thing too, another problem that a lot of people they usually have is they go for a lot of low fat products that are loaded with sugar. Right
Mm.
now, when you remove fat from something, it has to be replaced with something else, and usually it's
Oh,
replaced with sugar,
sugar.
right?
Yes.
Now, if you see something that sugar is the first, second, or third ingredient, put it
Mm.
down, right?
Stay away.
Stay away from it because it's unhealthy for you, right?
Mm.
Another thing too, people what they like to eat is something. They have something called high fructose corn syrup, HFCS, high fructose corn syrup. It's found in jams, jellies. It's found in soft drinks, soda. It's found in a whole lot of products, even pasta
Mm.
sauces, even ketchup. If you see anything with
Oh.
high fructose corn syrup in it, do not pick
Mm.
it up. Why is that? Because it contributes towards fatty liver, which is a major contributor of type 2 diabetes. Now, I'll explain
Oh.
this to you. The reason why they use high fructose corn syrup is because it's cheaper to
Mm.
produce than sugar, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
also it increases the shelf life. So it increases it increases the product shelf life, but decreases your shelf life. So just remember
Yes.
that, right? Right? So
Yes.
high
Yes.
fructose
Yes.
corn syrup. Another thing too, a lot of people don't know is that eating bad and trans fats. And you might say, what that has to do with anything else? Well, I'll explain something. Fatty liver is a disorder that is usually found in people with pre-diabetes and type 2 diabetes. It's actually
Mm-hmm.
called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease.
Oh.
Now fatty liver disease used to be found in people who are alcoholics.
Alcohol. Okay. Okay.
Right, because from the excess alcohol, right? Or people who
Yes.
not
Yes.
even alcohol, people who drink excessive amount of alcohol, right?
Yes. Yes.
I don't want to think anybody, right? But people who drink an excessive amount of
Yes.
alcohol, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But they found a lot of people with pre-diabetes and type 2 diabetes, they have fatty liver and they don't drink any alcohol whatsoever. So it's a
Mm.
symptom of type 2 diabetes. Now, when you eat bad fats or trans fats, it actually contributes towards that fatty liver, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'll explain what are bad fats. Bad fats are things that are found, I'll tell you foods. Foods that have trans fats in it are things like margarine, right? A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people think margarine is healthy for them.
Yes.
And there's a difference between margarine and butter. Margarine, it
Mm.
has all these other different things like this acid and
Mm.
this and that and all kind of things you need to
Right.
translate it. While butter has two ingredients, cream, salt. Which one do you think healthier for you?
Butter.
Exactly, right.
Yes.
Um,
Mm.
vegetable oil. Now, in Trinidad and Tobago, we have something called vegetable oil. But I also ask somebody, I also
Yes, we
ask
have it.
people,
Yes. Right.
right, do you squeeze a carrot or a piece of cauliflower, a piece of broccoli, and get oil from it?
Mm. I'm not sure, but
No.
I think that's not possible.
Right, exactly. So what is vegetable oil? Right?
Mm.
What is the canola plant? Do you just pick up a canola and just dress it on and plant it? No. Right? There's no
Mm.
such right. Exactly. All these things are what you call genetically modified oils. So what you have to
Oh.
look at is oils that are healthier for you. So like um, long ago, mass media they were bashing coconut oil. Say
Mm.
coconut oil will raise your cholesterol and all these things. Actually, it's quite the opposite,
Oh.
right? Cold pressed coconut oil is one of the healthiest things for you, right?
Coconut oil,
Extra virgin olive oil is one of the greatest things that you can have. Extra virgin,
olive oil. I use a
right?
lot of olive oil.
Well done. Butter,
Mm.
right? People give
Mm.
butter such a bad name. Butter is not bad for you actually. But
Mm.
you can't say, well, olive oil is good for me, coconut oil is good for me, and you're drinking this whole big vat. You can't do that, right? Fats,
No.
right? Right.
No.
Fats and all these things supposed to be used sparingly. Supposed to be
Mm.
used in moderate amounts. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So just remember that. So always try to eat healthy fats. Another thing too is drinking too much alcohol. So remember we were talking
Mm.
about non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Well, if you have if you drink too much
Mm.
alcohol, then it's fatty liver disease, right? So drinking too much
Yes. Yes.
alcohol. Another thing, and this is what something I want to get clear. You see those artificial sweeteners,
Hmm.
steer very far from it because
Sweeteners.
artificial sweeteners. So
Oh,
the
okay.
things like the sorbitol and the mannitol and the sucralose. Now they may
Mm.
not raise your blood sugars as high as normal sugar, but they
Mm.
contribute towards the vicious cycle of insulin resistance, which is the root cause of type 2 diabetes. So anything
Oh.
that's yeah, so anything that's contributing towards the cycle, you stay away from it. So people say,
Mm.
well, what can we eat? Very simple.
Yes.
You can eat complex carbs, right? People now, and I'll explain something. You can even eat rice. People give rice such a bad name, right?
Mm.
But Japan, right, and certain places in Asia, they eat a lot of rice, right?
Yeah, yes, yes,
And
a lot.
and right, and their incidence of type 2 diabetes is actually not as high as other places. But you want to know why?
Mm.
Because
Yes.
their intake of processed and gluten items are lower than other items, than other places, than other
Oh.
regions. So people might give rice such a bad name. No, I'm not going to sit to eat a whole pot of rice, But what I'm saying is that you can have complex carbs. You can have things like sweet potatoes and tubers and
Mm.
yams
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like. You can have carbs, right? It's just
Mm.
how much you have of it, right? And
Yes.
you have to be mindful, right? You can have all the vegetables in the world. You can have green
Yes.
leafy vegetables. You can have,
Yes.
right? You
All
can
kinds of
have
vegetables.
all types of vegetables. People
Mm.
give fruits such a bad name. Fruits are not as bad as you think. It's just
Mm.
how much of the fruit that you eat when you eat the
Yes.
fruit, right? That's the thing, right? People say, oh, fruits will raise your blood sugar and stuff like that. But yet they will drink a Diet Coke.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So you have to learn
Yes.
to pick your point. No, actually,
But
fruit juice, no.
the thing is with fruit, the difference is with fruit and the diet soda is that fruit is actually natural at most of the time. It's a natural sugar, which is it's a good sugar for you. But then when it comes to diet one, it's the processed one, so it can't be
Egg,
good for you.
exactly, exactly. And another thing with fruit too, I mean, in Trinidad, I could say from my personal experience, we could be a
Mm.
bit excessive. So,
Yeah.
so so when it's mango season, we be like, I mean, too
Yeah.
much. I remember
Yeah.
what I said. Too much of one thing is not good for
It's
anything.
not
But
good.
if you,
Yes.
but if you have like one fruit for the day, I don't think
Mm.
that should, that shouldn't hurt you.
Mm.
Now, a lot of people think it's about starving yourself. It's not about starving yourself. It's about being mindful
Mm.
of the food that you eat, and that's why I
Must
always
eat
tell people
must eat in
mindful
moderation.
nutrition.
In moderation.
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. So being aware of the amount of processed foods that you eat. So I always tell people if you want to start one place, throw away the junk food.
Mhm. So one last question about type 2 diabetes and the whole conversation about diabetes.
Yeah.
If what sort of test that they run, like because we are in a third world countries, we don't have a lot of accesses to doctors and stuff. We rarely go to doctors, most especially black people. We rarely go to doctors. Like people will be walking around with type 2 or type 1 diabetes without even knowing, and then it's too
Yeah.
late. Until it's
Yeah.
too late. So, what kind of situation that can lead you into knowing that
Okay.
you have it?
Well, honestly, the different types of tests that you can do honestly has to be kind of evasive, meaning that you have to do a blood test to determine, right?
Ah,
Also, checking like the amount of sugar that's in your urine. Also, that's another test that you can do. But the thing about type 2 diabetes and all these other things there, it's kind of like a silent killer, right? It
hmm,
kind of creeps up on me. So you don't really know unless you know. And the only way to really do it is by doing like tests. They'll do other tests, things like an oral glucose tolerance test. They'll do things like a urine test. But the best way to
mm,
do it, honestly, Booty,
blood.
is by doing something called an A1C test. Now, there are different types of A1C tests. In Trinidad, we actually brought down a test whereby you get a normal little finger stick, and you
Mm,
just drop like a little pin drop of blood, and you
yes,
put in like that.
like
So it's not
like when testing for HIV and AIDS.
right, exactly,
Mm,
exactly.
okay.
Now, I see somebody's asking there what type of
Yes,
coconut oil
yes.
is recommended.
Justin, thank you for the question. Yeah, can you please answer Justin's question? What type of coconut oil is recommended?
Cold, well, as they say, extra virgin or cold press, right? That's the
Mhm.
best type of coconut oil that you can use. But there are
Extra
different
virgin.
grades. Yeah, extra virgin, but there are different grades. There's the type of grade that you can cook with. We did a lot of that in Trinidad early before, but the best variety is the cold press type. That's the best type. It's good for your heart. It's good for your brain. It's good for your blood vessels. All these things.
Mm.
But But the best way to go and test booty is by doing the blood test.
Blood
It's called an
test.
A1C test. That's the best test.
Yes. No.
Yeah. Just like how they do the same thing for HIV, they could do the same thing for type 2 diabetes.
Okay, let's just talk now a little bit about your country. So, some of us doesn't really know about Trinidad. Luckily that I know about it. There's a lot of uh, stuff that I read about, and also I follow a lot of Wycliffe Jean. Wycliffe Jean likes to talk a lot about the Caribbean.
Caribbean, yes, yes.
Yes,
He's from
Caribbeans and
Haiti.
Jamaica, Trinidad. Yeah, he's from Haiti. Yeah. So, was it a part of a colony, or it was always a
Yes, yes, yes.
African?
We were colonized, right? So Trinidad and Tobago is a multi-ethnic, multi-diverse twin island republic, right? We are
Mm,
situated right above South America, so we are the southern, so we're in the we're in the Lesser Antilles, I believe. Yes, we're in the Lesser Antilles.
mm,
So in Caribbean, there's the Greater Antilles and the Lesser Antilles, and we are the
yeah.
southernmost part of the Caribbean chain, the Caribbean islands, right? So we are close,
Mhm,
very close to South America. We are a
mhm,
twin island republic, and yes, we were colonized by a lot of people. So we were colonized actually by the Spanish,
mm,
by the French, by the
French.
English.
Yeah.
But right, and we were
Mm,
actually a colony of England until we got our independence in 1962. That's where we started
wow.
our constitution. So there are a lot of things. So we have a lot of people from India, right? We
Hmm.
have some people from I
Yeah,
don't want
of
to say
course. Of
yeah.
course, you will have a lot of people from India because of America, England, people, British. The
Right,
British
exactly. Right.
had a lot of slaves that they were taking away from India and just pushing them all over where they
Right.
colonized. Even here in South Africa, we have a lot of Indians because we were once also colonized by British.
Right, exactly. Africa, we have a lot of people from us, so that's why we have a lot of people who are mixed, right? So we have a
Hmm.
we are very ethnic. Our cuisine is very multi-diverse also. So we have Indian cuisine, African cuisine, Asian cuisine, well Chinese. I don't want to say Chinese, I want to say Asian because I want to be a little more,
Yeah,
a
inclusive.
little, yeah, just to be a little
Mm,
safer. But
mm,
but our culture is very how to say it's very rich, so
mm.
we
Yeah.
have carnival, we celebrate different religious holidays, and I mean, so we celebrate things like Eid, right? We
Mm,
celebrate Diwali.
mm-hmm.
Tomorrow's Emancipation Day. We celebrate Shelter Baptist Day, so
Okay.
as I say, we celebrate Corpus Christi, which is a Christian holiday. So as I said, it's it's a beautiful country. Of course, it has its ups and downs. The
Yes, yes,
people,
yes. Mm,
the people are considered to be very laid back, all too laid back at times. We
mm-hmm.
love we love to party. We love to take. We have something every year. Well, we didn't have it for the 2 years. We have something called Carnival, and you should look into it. It's Carnival, so it usually happens 2 days before Ash Wednesday, where it's actually a season, but Carnival Monday and Tuesday is like the highlight of how they like the ending. So people like, you ever looked at Brazil, how they have like people parading through the streets and they have music
Yes,
and
yes.
stuff, right?
I've seen those. Yes, yeah.
Right. So we celebrate something like that. Our national instrument is actually called the steel pan, right? So, or the
Mm-hmm.
steel drums, and our
Okay.
right we have our national, well, one of our national type of music, or our original type is something called soca, or something called
Suka.
calypso, soca and
Oh.
calypso. So you should look up, if you want to look up like good people of soca, you should look up people like Marshall Montano. He's collaborated with
Mm-hmm.
a lot of stars all over the world.
Okay.
Kes, right? The name of his Kes, different Tyler, but his name is Kes
Okay.
the
I'll
band.
check it out. I'll
Bunch,
check it out.
Bunchy Garland, right? And you should check out Carnival, check out Marshall Montano. Great
Mm-hmm.
music, great stuff.
Okay.
He actually collaborated with people who did Afrobeats and stuff like that too. So
Mm.
I'm a huge Afrobeat fan too. So I mean,
Yes.
yeah,
Thank you.
but
That's a very good music.
very nice music, beautiful music. So
Mm,
and it's rich in history, rich in history. So
mm.
Christopher Columbus is actually in Trinidad and Tobago.
Oh,
So yeah, so we were so
what's the
yeah, so we
population there?
1.4 million.
Oh, that's a tiny population. That's
Tiny
good.
population. It's a speck. When you look at
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
it's a speck and
Mm.
Tobago, Trinidad is more lively with more nightlife and stuff like that. But
What's
Tobago
the
is
national sport in there?
okay. So we like football, cricket. We love cricket, football,
Mm.
track and field. But the national
Yes,
sport is
yes, yes.
the more popular sports is football and cricket. Things are now
Ah,
coming up into. So I was looking at the Commonwealth Games yesterday actually, and I'm seeing that
mm.
gymnastics is coming more into play. I'm seeing other
Okay.
sports, which is good.
Yeah,
Rugby.
I
Rugby
was
is
watching as well. I was watching the Commonwealth as well. I saw a lot of runners from Trinidad.
right.
Yeah.
Track and field
Mm.
is something
Mm.
to you know, well, we have a Trinidad side, but you know about the West Indies if you follow cricket,
Yes,
So
West Indies.
right,
Yes.
right. Brian Lara is from Trinidad and Tobago.
Brian
Dwayne
Lara. Yes.
Bravo, yeah, Dwayne
Hmm.
Bravo is from Trinidad and Tobago. Nicholas Puran, who's the captain now, Karen Pollard, all these guys,
Mm.
you know, who
So
who
West
play
Indies
with
is it closer there in Trinidad? West Indies
Pami.
is West Indies closer in
Oh,
Trinidad?
okay. So West Indies is actually the collaboration of all the Caribbean islands from the Greater Antilles and the Lesser Antilles to form one team.
Mm.
because
Okay.
because because well, I'll be honest with you, right? Sometimes the different well, Trinidad is just 1.4, right, as
Mm.
compared to like India and South Africa and Australia, which are more
Yeah.
predominant, right? So
Mm.
we can't get all our cricketers from one area, so we have to
Yes.
so we have a collection of islands that we collect
Hmm.
the best cricketers and we pool them into one team to form the West Indies. Because so that's what Christopher Columbus called us. They called us the West Indies,
West
and we stuck with
Indies.
them. Right. So the West
Mm.
Indies cricket team is from the Caribbean. So it says in the
Ah,
Caribbean team we call it the West Indies.
West Indies. So I always thought West Indies is a certain country. I didn't know it's a collective
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
of part of the
Caribbean
Caribbean
of
countries.
the Caribbean, right? Yeah, of the Greater Antilles
Okay.
and the Lesser
Mm.
Antilles. So the Greater Antilles will be places like Jamaica, those bigger islands, and the Lesser
Yes,
Antilles will be
yes.
places like Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago.
Barbados,
Uh,
yes.
yeah. Uh,
Bahamas.
And even though Guyana is a part of South America, it's considered to be West Indies too.
Ah, okay, okay. So, Brian Lara is from there. I always
From
admire him.
Trinidad. He's from
Mm.
Trinidad and
Yeah,
Tobago.
yeah.
But Gary Sobers is actually from Barbados.
Mm.
And
Mm.
Curtly Ambrose, those are like greats now. He was actually
Yes.
from Antigua, and
Mm.
Malcolm Marshall was from Barbados also. So
Mm.
you're right, exactly. So it's from different islands because we just way too small
Yes.
to
Yes.
to compete.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. In closing, man, what is your message to the people who are watching, like especially when it comes to health, especially when it comes to divisiveness and all that? What can you say? Your last words.
Okay, so first of all, I want to say that now this is for people who have pre-diabetes and type 2 diabetes. It's not a death sentence, right? It's totally treatable. But sometimes what you need to do, if you need help, get help, right? Sometimes it's not necessarily your effort. It could just be your strategy. It could just be you're just doing something wrong. So if you can't do it on your own, that's all fine. But if you
Mhm.
need help, get help, right? Seek counsel, seek everything because it's something that's totally treatable. I always tell people that, hello, Puti? Oh, I'm not seeing you there. But anyway, but I always tell people that at the end of the day, you just need to keep at it and just take it one step at a time, one day at a time. And I'm not seeing Puti again.
No, no, no. I was just giving you a full screen so that you can just talk.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. My bad. My
Mm.
bad. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying that change and people who may be struggling, just remember that change is something that's a little bit messy. It's never
Yes.
straightforward, right? So you have to take it one step at a time, one day at a time, and focus on one thing, and
Yes.
and from there and you build. It's not about the big things; it's about what you do on a daily basis,
Yes. Small, step by step.
step by step.
Mm. Okay.
Step
No,
by
thank you
step.
very much, man. I hope people do really learn and try to change their life, man, because this is a very much important information about type 1 diabetes or any kind of diabetes, because we touch in a lot of kinds of diabetes. And people now would understand when they start to have some kind of symptoms. You did mention hungry constantly. Uh, what else? It was three of them. Always hungry,
Always hungry, always thirsty, and
always
frequently
thirsty,
urinating.
urinating. Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. There's another question. The last question. Let's answer that. Do you
Do
have
you have a
any?
website or page? Oh yes. Thank you so much.
Yes.
So I do have a website. The name of my website is www.inspirowellness.info. I'll say it again.
Yes.
www.inspirowellness, INSPIROWELLNESS.info. And the thing about it is that on Inspiro you can
Yes.
actually book a free consultation. You can go on the website, book a free consultation, or you can reach out to me at inspirowellness at gmail if you want to book a free consultation. I actually have an ebook called the A1C Breakdown. Right,
Wow.
it's a blueprint guide to help you reach from pre-diabetes to type 2 diabetes, right?
Wow, that's cool.
From type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetes
Mm.
to a lower, healthier range, right? To
Yes.
a
Yes. Yes.
normal
Yes.
range, right? I also have a
Mm.
coaching program called the A1C Breakdown Coaching Program. It's an 8-week program that can help
Mm-hmm.
you lower your A1C to a healthier level. I have tons of free stuff. I have my, so go up on the website. You can actually have, and the same
Yeah.
thing what I was talking,
Okay. You
right?
can send me the details and all that. I will put it
Right.
in the description and also on the comment. Shay, don't worry about it. You will have the information on
Thanks,
the
Shay.
description, also on the comments. We'll comment with the email and the website and the ebook.
Right. Thanks. Thanks so much.
Another
And
question for the last question.
can you
Okay.
type the name of the
The name of the
website?
website is no. We will type it on the comments. Aeon, I think it's Aeon. Aeon, thank you, my man. We will type it in the description. You will have it in the next 5 minutes. I will edit the description and put all the information from my man James. My man, thank you very
Yeah.
much, man. This is
Yeah,
what was
man.
this was very insightful.
It was very
In
wonderful.
in closing, I'm very much grateful for this. It was a very informative discussion. So thank you and continue having a great day.
And Buti, thank you so much for having us here. I know right now it's what time there's around 8 o'clock. That time there is now it's almost 8 o'clock.
Yeah, yeah. It's almost 8. Yeah,
It's almost
no,
eight
not
o'clock,
six.
yeah.
Not almost six. Six.
Oh,
Yes.
six, almost six. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
At least.
so
Yeah.
so I'd like to thank you so much for having me here. It's such a blessing, and keep on doing great things, keep on reaching out to the world, blessings
Yes,
overflow, man.
man. Thank you, my brother. We will do this again definitely. Maybe near the end of this year.
For sure, for sure, for
Hala.
sure.
Fikiria kwa undani ndugu Tamaku.